the song simply talks about didn't matter what obstacle I face, God can do all things.
Welcome to Message Reveal. Message Reveal identifies a vibe, a message, or a story told through lyrics of a song. And you guys, if you rock with me every week, you know what I do and how I do it. I tell you something special about our special guest. So before we get started, let me tell you this. If you're new to the platform, subscribe and find out what Message Reveal is all about. Now, let's get back to business so I can tell you about our special guest. 1, he's a radio host. 2, he's an author. And 3, last but definitely not least, he owns the largest Black real estate company here in Nevada, period. So you guys, please put your hands together and welcome my special guest, Mr. Greg DeVille.
Thank you so much. I certainly appreciate you thinking about me, giving me this opportunity to share on your platform. It's exciting. It's exciting. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're more than welcome. And I tell all my guests that takes time out of their busy day to say yes to me, I appreciate you.
Anytime. Certainly.
Well, let's just talk about you being a radio host. Give me the background that even initiated you to start the process.
So, when I was in high school, I wanted to be a DJ. I did. I wanted to play music. I remember I used to call in on radio stations back in Southern California. Used to be a station. Well, it still is, KGLH. And I would call in and I would ask the DJ to let me intro the song. So if he was getting ready to play a song, he said, I'm getting ready to play. Okay, you bring up the song. And it was fun, playing with the DJ. And so I was the high school DJ at Manual Arts High School. So at lunchtime, we got to be the DJ and play the music, and we had our own little radio station at the school. And so that was my start. Um, I made a ton of money in Vegas. I wanted to invest in some maybe commercials or something. I went to the radio station, went to 88.1, and they said, okay, well, you can get 30-second spots. What would you say? And I'm like, oh my God, I can't say what I want to say in 30 seconds, He said, well, you can get a 30-minute talk show. And I said, okay, I could probably do that. And she says, they run $300 for a 30-minute talk show. And I'm like, okay, I wonder how many can I do? But I had made a ton of money, so it was okay. I was like, no problem. I'm going to do this. And that was the beginning. It was been 10 years. We just made our 10 years December 2025. So we thank God for the 10 years radio right here in Nevada at Power 88, 88.1 FM. It's been a fun ride.
Yes, definitely. And I'm always, if I'm out and about, especially on a Saturday, I tune in, I hear you talking about mortgage and the different layers to that. So let's just segue into you
Yes.
being the largest Black-owned real estate company in Nevada. So let's talk a little bit about that journey and what's currently going on in your ecosystem that you can share with my guests.
So because I love helping families and I love the opportunities to help first-time buyers, people who never would have thought, because saving money is really challenging when you work a 9 to 5. You just you live up to your means a lot of times. Saving money has been difficult for a lot of families. So I found ways to get them money. So when I found out the no money down programs, it was a phenomenal information that I'm able to share with people. And it has grown leaps and bounds. It has been wonderful. All the amount of people that I get in homes with no money, veterans, no money, and we're helping them with their closing costs. So with that and the radio combined has grown this business. My team of 38 team members on my team, it's just been, and that's what has made us like like Big X the plug say, the biggest, the largest,
Yes.
So that has been a fun ride. I love listening to that song. I'm careful not to get cocky with it, but I love it. The big, you know, from that little apartment my mama lived in, you know, but the biggest, the largest, you know, I love it. So I am having so much fun to think, um, you know, this never, I never imagined,
Hmm.
never imagined it. God led me to the radio, and that was in 2015, and I made my first deal. I can remember my first deal from the radio show. I made $16,000 in 1 month
Wow.
on one deal, and I said I ain't never leaving radio. I said I'm
Yes.
never leaving radio. So and it's grown. You know, it's been a phenomenal ride. Yes.
I love that. I love that how you intertwine. Really, radio has been your advertising piece, where and also testimonial piece for different individuals. Because I remember someone coming on and kind of cataloging where they were and what you took them through those steps in order for them to be successful. Another thing I do want to talk about. I understand that you have the programs where you put down, but it is also a buy-in, meaning the person that's doing the program, they also have to go through a program.
That's right.
Correct? It's just not like, hey, we're giving you the no money down or closing lending. Excuse me if I'm not saying it correct, but the part is is it a 4 week or 8 week class that they have to go through to get them through that step?
So it's an 8 hour. It was an 8 hour that you
Oh,
have to take. And I offered that class for like 7 years. It was one Saturday a month. You gave 8 hours. You got a certificate that entitled you up to $25,000. The
wow.
entitlement was up to 25,000, but based on how much you needed. So if you only needed um, 15,000 out of that 25, it would only give you what you needed, but it would go up to but it was predicated on how much you qualified for. And of course, you had to meet the criteria of, what the requirements are, like a credit FICO, your debt ratios. And many people met it, didn't know that they could. And if they couldn't, the lender would give them a game plan how to get there. And so it's just been, even for me, when I went to buy my house in 2015, um, everything wasn't lining up. But because I have about 8 or 9 lenders, my lenders know how to work with you, get you in position, tell you what to do, give you a game plan, a strategy on how to get in position to purchase, right? So maybe it's not now. Maybe it's like for me, it was 90 days. I was good to go. And here I am in my home now, 10 years.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow. And I
Yep.
think that's a real good testimony to encourage those that say, I don't know, I may not be able to qualify. I
Mhm.
remember your big drive is let me take a look
Yep.
instead of you assessing your own information. I may have one particular lender that may support you, or as you say, will get you prepared to get to that next level. Am I correct with that?
That, that you said it exactly right.
Yes. So before we get back, we're going to go into a couple of more things, but I have to tell you, music has turned me out
Yes.
in
Yes.
a wonderful way.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And I know you alluded to a song, and I get what you're saying. It just takes you to multiple levels. It's been my counselor, it's been my encourager, it's been all those things.
Yes.
So I say all that to say if you can identify a song that has either blessed you,
Uh,
distracted you, or provided blessings. Now, before you answer, is a
uh,
couple of rules to this, okay?
okay. Okay.
If you can sing, I need you to sing your throat box out, okay? If you can rap, I need you to come hard in the paint. But if you cannot do either or, I need you to say it with passion. You know, when we say in the streets, 10 toes down, I got to
Yeah.
be able to feel what you're talking about. You can't just tell me the lyrics. I need to feel it. So I'll go back to my original question.
Okay.
Can you provide a song that either provide lessons, blessings, or distractions?
So this one has been an inspiration for me. And because if you hear the story about my book, my dad, since a young kid, has had me in the home improvement. And so when I look at where I'm at today, I think about this song and the song, and I can't sing, but I'm going to tell you what the song stands out, and I love to play it, is Grinding All My Life. I love Nipsey Hussle, grinding all my life, because that's what I've been doing. I've been grinding. I've been at it. I've been doing what it takes to get where I'm at, and the grinding part of it, and I'm still grinding. I'm 60 years old. Next month, I'll be 61 years old. And
You,
I have been grinding. I have been having so much fun. And I just, I'm telling you, I don't see people talk about retiring. I'm like, but why?
mm-hmm.
For me, it's not that kind of job. It's not a job to me. It's I mean, I'm having fun grinding all my life, and doing what I love to do. And so people say, do you get I got a yacht on the Lake Mead Marina that I walk out to my boat and drive it on the lake and jet ski, grinding on. But that's what happens because I've been grinding all my life. As a young boy, I started off working on an ice cream truck, cutting grass, washing cars. Shoot, I used to do something, everything. I have been grinding. So when I listen to that song from Nipsey, I'm always grinding all my life. Sacrifice. Got to pay the price. And so that stood out to me when I read, some of the questions that would be spoken about. And that one came immediately to my mind.
Well, that sounds like that was really working for you. And
Absolutely.
maybe that encouraged some other people. Sometime in order to get what you want, you got to put a little bit of grind in it. Like the
Yeah.
old folks used to say, you got to have some gumption. You
Yeah,
got
yeah,
to put
yeah.
some energy into
There you
something.
go. Yeah.
So it sounds like the grinding is your gumption.
That's it. That's it. Got to keep that grind. Got to stay on that grind. Um, the end of the day, and that's what my book about the journey into entrepreneurship and success. I'm giving you some grinding information. And every chapter, it's not called chapter, they're called lessons. So every chapter or every lesson talks about, how I got where I'm at. And at the end of the chapter, it talks about reflect and apply. How does
Mm,
this relate to you? How can you change where you are in your mindset? Because you got to have the grind. I got real estate agents, they're not doing much business because they don't have that grind. You got to have that grind. You got to be excited about what you're doing. Some people get excited about just making the money. No, I love helping families.
mm,
And that's been more powerful. And I make plenty of money, but helping the family has been my focus.
mm.
That is my grind, because my grind, as Sparkle would say, is my shine.
Ah, come on
Yes,
now.
yes, absolutely.
I love that. That's your shine. Well, let's just turn the tables just a little, and we'll
Uh-huh.
come back and we're going to talk about your book in detail. We're going to give them the title, but
Yeah.
let's talk about you as a child. And if
Hmm.
you can reflect back and think about the first time you had the opportunity to purchase something on your own, whether you worked, you received Christmas money or whatever, you purchased something on your own without anyone influence. Can you identify a song?
Purchase on my own. Well, so this one necessarily where I didn't purchase, but something I remember doing as a young boy. I was about 13 years old. I remember my grandmother bought me a lawnmower, and I lived in Louisiana. And the lawnmower, I would cut grass every day. I would go and cut grass at the apartments, people's houses. But something that was so impactful to me is that when the summer ended, it was time to get ready to go to school, and we had to go school shopping. I was able to give my mother $400 towards my brother and sister's school shopping, and mine too. I was able to give my mother $400. And when I did, she said, "Boy, where you get this?" I said, "Mama, again, I've been grinding all my life." I said, "Mama, I was cutting grass all summer." And so, more than anything, that stood out to me, that I was able to help my mother, because my mother was a single mom. I had just met her when I was 13, so I'd only been living with her for about 6 or 7 months.
Okay, can
But
I pause for a second? Are you
yeah,
referring to your mother?
my mother, my biological mother, I was raised with my dad in Southern California since I was 2 years old.
Okay.
So my mom and dad separated when I was two. She sent me to live with my dad in Southern Cal. She stayed in Louisiana.
Mm.
So when I was 13, my dad said, "Boy, you want to meet your mama?" And I said, "Yeah," because I always talked to her on the phone, but I never met her. And so my dad sent me back to Lake Charles, Louisiana, I met my mom, and my grandmother said, "So, grandson, I'm gonna need you to go out there and cut the grass." I said, "Well, where's the lawnmower?" Because I was already cutting grass working with my dad. So it was no big deal. So she said, "Well, I don't have one." She said, "But I'm gonna go buy you a lawnmower." And I'm telling you, from that cutting my grandmother's grass to cutting all the neighborhood lawns, and I'm telling you, $400 at the end of the summer to give my mother,
Wow.
and so that was big to me. That really left an impact. And ever since then, I have loved being an entrepreneur.
Yes. Well, I mean, think about it. How
Mm,
old were you at the time? 13 or 14?
13. I was 13 years old.
And to be able to give $400, I mean, think about it now. $400 is a car payment or a power and a gas bill and
Right,
some food. So
right.
back then, that had to be jaw breaking for your mom to go, "What? How did you get this?"
Yeah,
So that song, like you said, grinding, you definitely applied that tactic, that term.
absolutely.
Wow.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So I need you to think about a
Uh,
song
okay.
that
Okay.
you've sung multiple times. I mean, you were getting it, and then all of a sudden, you was like, "Wait 1 minute! I've been singing that particular song, and I find out now what it's all about." Can you identify a song?
So one song that I enjoyed that really sticks out to me when you talk about that is the Charlie Wilson. The song is "I'm Blessed." I'm blessed, I'm blessed, I'm blessed. And it makes me really, because I can't sing, but I know what I like. And the fact again, being able to give back. Because I think that's what's given me to be the biggest, the largest, real estate brokers is my giving back. And Charlie talks about it in a song that I'm blessed. And I think being blessed per that song for me is the ability to have been given back so much. When I go places, I may not recognize everyone because people, especially our ladies, they change their hairdos and it's so many changes. I met a lady, her hair was long like yours, and the next few days I saw her again at church, and she had hair like that, and I didn't recognize her. She says, "Hey," she gave me a hug, and she said, "I'm glad you made it. I'm glad I invited you, and you made it." I'm like, "Oh, it was her." I'm like, "Whoa, man, the transformations." But being able to bless people has kept me so blessed,
Yes.
and it has kept me. And so I listen to Charlie Wilson. In fact, I let that be my opening song for about 6 months of the year when he talks about "I'm blessed."
Yes.
So that song right there is really impactful, and it can encourage me to continue to do what I'm doing. You know,
Yes.
continue to do what I'm doing, having
Eh,
fun.
and let's just flip the tables a little and let's talk about those times because we all have challenging times. None of us are without that. I think
Mhm.
that's part of our growth to be
Right.
challenged. And sometimes it hurts us. But to be able to move forward
Mhm.
is a real success to the key of life.
Right.
So with that being said, if you're down, if you're out and your spirit or your energy is down, what kind
Mhm.
of song will you use to pick you up?
So there's a song by Pastor Mike Jackson Jr. And this song is entitled "It's Gonna Be Big." And so if you listen to Pastor Mike Jr. and the song is "Gonna Be Big," I keep thinking about that because when it's low, when I'm in that low space, I go out and I network. I grew up as an only child with my dad, right? So I grew up as an only child, but my mom, I had brothers and sisters, but again, I didn't meet them until I was 13 years old. um, but to encourage myself, I go out to different events. Every night there's something going on, some kind of network going on somewhere. And I always remind myself of that song with Pastor Mike Jr. that it's going to be big. Even though I'm in a stump right now and it's looking like whatever, but I keep encouraging myself, say it's going to be big. Um, this morning, I have 4 daughters. I was a single dad for some years. And, but before their mom passed, they lived with their mom in Kansas. And so I was paying child support and doing my part as a dad because I had a dad. I was raising my kids, sending them their support. Well, just today, the funniest thing, a month ago, I got a phone call from the child support division that said, They were auditing their records, and they said that based on our records, you overpaid on your child support.
Woo, the biggest
I said,
blessing.
I said, really? They said, yes. So we're going to refund you the checks, the check for the amount that you overpaid. You know, so my baby girl is 25, and
Wow.
out paying child support. They moved with me back when they were. My baby girl was 7 years old when their mom passed, so she's 26 now, actually. And so today I got the checks in the mail for the monies that they overcharged, that I overpaid. And it's funny because to think when God says you're gonna receive checks in the mail, and I was like, really? Is that? I thought the guy was kidding. He says, no, you have almost $10,000 that you overpaid on child support. And
Hmm.
so when I think about it's going to be big, I have expectancy of things. I expect the unexpected. I don't even know what to expect, but I know God has the ability to do the miraculous, right? And so again, when Pastor Mike Jr. sings that song, it's going to be big. I keep holding on to that because even though those days that are ugly and days are slow, and maybe you go a couple months, you haven't closed the deal, but you keep reminding yourself, when I do come back, it's going to be big.
I love that. I love how you frame that story around and to say you wasn't even expecting that. Out of
Yeah,
all the places, you probably
yeah,
said, "What in the world?" and you had this money back.
yeah,
So that's a blessing in disguise because we all can receive some money back and put it in our pocket, right?
yeah, yeah. Right. No doubt, no doubt. Certainly.
Wow, what a beautiful story, and thank God you were helping along the way because we know some people, men and women, they
Mhm.
take for granted and they don't help the person that's actually taking care of the children. So
Right, right.
kudos to you for
Thank
taking
you so
care of
much.
business.
Thank you so much. Yep. Absolutely,
So
absolutely.
let's go into you being an author. Let's talk before we even talk about that.
Uh,
Let me give the exact name. It's called The Journey, the
yes.
entrepreneurship and success. Correct?
Yeah. The journey
Into
into
okay.
into entrepreneurship and success. Correct.
Okay,
Correct.
so before you hold up your book, tell me the impetus of why you even thought I'll write a book and then talk about your book.
So I wanted to share what the mindset and strategies that are needed in life to become successful. Um, in my book I talk about stories that were very discouraging. I talk about a story once that when I started in real estate, people say I'm a mogul now, but they don't know where I started. My first check I received in real estate, I wanted to quit real estate. I wanted to give up because I started at a company. They had all these fees and they charged me monthly. And oh my God, it was just I wanted to quit. But something in me kept saying it's going to be big. It's going to be big. You know, you. I after getting that check, I made a vow to the Lord, and I said, Lord, when you not if, but when you bless me to have DeVille Realty, I'm never going to charge monthly fees
Mm,
because I remember it was $100 a month. I didn't close my first deal for 9 months. So
wow.
that was $900 plus my office split, plus some other junk fees the real estate company had. And so I made a vow that I would never charge monthly fees because I know what it felt like getting my check for the first time. And so when I train young agents, so for 10 years I've been a broker and I've continued to hold on to that commitment to the Lord, and I still don't charge monthly fees.
Wow.
Now,
Okay now.
not that I haven't thought about it and said, "Ooh, if I did, what it could do and how it could really pull me out." And I said, "But I made a vow to the Lord, and
Mm,
I still, after 10 years, have not charged agents a dime monthly for hanging your license with DeVille." And
wow.
so, this book has been to help encourage people how to stay true to your commitments, how to go past how you feel. I got a lesson in there called "See Past the Now."
Ooh, come on, talk about that,
See
sir.
past the now, even though right now, and think about it. If you look at the news and they're talking about Chicago and New York and the hailstorms, they're snowed in. They're not only that, but I see they're towing cars away because they can't get the plow. So not only is your car stranded, now it's impounded, and oh, it's so much going on. But one day after all of that storm, the sun will shine again. And
Yes.
that's what I'm teaching people is see past the storm in your life. See past right now and see that there's going to be a brighter day and it's going to be big.
You know what? I love that. See past the now, but let me just dig just a little bit deeper.
Okay, okay.
You had to go through something in your life to pull you to have that perspective to see past the now. Can you talk about a moment or a time that made you push to understand to see past that now?
I sure got a few of them, and the book has more, but I'll tell you one that I will share is when my home was threatened for foreclosure. When
Mm,
the estate market had really turned left and things were just really tight. I lived off my savings and I was depleting funds. um, Things were really getting tight. So I went down to the foreclosure department, to the mediation downtown to get forbearance from the state during the COVID. And the real estate in COVID, things have gotten pretty tough. Well, long story short, the lady said, well, I was already 3 months behind. And she said, well, Mr. DeVille, it probably before you get approved, it takes a 3 to 4 months. And I'm thinking, well, I'm gonna be 7 months. They're gonna be took my house.
okay.
I said, well, let me. I gave the lady her paperwork back. I said, that's okay. I'll go figure something out. I gave her the paperwork back and I said, that's okay. I'm not going to apply for it. I'm just going to go because I'm a handyman. I'm a broker. I'm a realtor. I can fix, I can do plumbing, electrical. So I said, you know what? I'm just going to do what I know. God has been on my side. And so about a week later, I got a letter in the mail. And the letter said, you've been approved for the forbearance. Now, remember, I gave the lady the paperwork back. But now my bank said, you've been approved for the forbearance. And
Wow.
if you agree, we will put. I was behind about $15,000. Um, the bank says it's going to cost you about $3,500 to have the attorney draw everything up, put this toward the rear. So it's going to cost you about $18,000. But if you agree, this was in May. Your first payment will not be due until August 1st. So they were giving me. I was already 3 4 months behind. They were going to give me another 3 months. So that was see past the now moment. I gave the paperwork back and I said, Lord, I don't know, but you've always made a way. And I
Yes.
left that paperwork. So that was an experience for me. And I talk about it in the book that I just kept saying, Lord, I don't know how, but I see that something's going to change because
Yes.
he's been God like that to me. And
Yes.
because I've been helping people and I've been consistent and I didn't change on my vow, I remained faithful to him about it. And that, I don't know. I don't know how. I can't explain that,
Wow.
but that's how it went down. Is I
I
got my, huh,
I love that. I love that you share your, as they say, your down times and your up times, because somebody that will see this podcast will be able to relate. A lot of times we're not relatable when we have our success. We will only push out the success. And
yeah,
I think that's a real big factor that you just shared. Like, hey, I was behind. It was
yep,
COVID time. I didn't know what I was going to do. I decided not to go with the paperwork, and look how God still blessed you in the midst of that.
true, absolutely. But that was there. So in the book, there are several chapters that really Um, let me just read a couple. Can I do that for a moment? Can I read
Absolutely.
and just
Absolutely.
kind of inspire people about the book? I'm not just here to sell books. I really want to get my books behind the prison walls and the institutions. I want to get my book into people that are in transitional housing
Mm,
because you got the downtime. But I want to be transparent, and I am in this book. But I got a lesson in here, lesson 3, which is what you would consider chapter 3, and it's entitled "Don't Be Bothered by What They Say."
mm,
Don't be bothered by what they say. In junior high school, I was already an alcoholic and on drugs and smoking weed because it was in my household every day. So drinking. So I was voted least likely to succeed from the junior high going into high school. They like, yeah, that brother right there, yeah.
Wow.
Selling weed in junior high, I was selling joints. This was like 1977, 78. Selling weed in junior high. And, I was always smoking weed and getting high. So I had to sell it to maintain my habits.
Mm,
But I wrote this chapter of the book of the lesson. Don't be bothered by what they say, because they said I was least likely to succeed. And
mm.
so that story's in there. Um, Another one that I wrote in here, lesson 12, when quitting is an option.
Oh, wait a minute. You got to talk about that.
Now, I don't want to give up too much, but I do want people to get the book, because there are a lot of times when giving up seems easiest, when walking away seems easiest, when quitting is an option. Because our mindset, and you learn how to see past the now. That's why see past the now was earlier on, because when you start seeing past the now, you realize I can't quit, even though it's opportunities available to quit. I could have, listen, I've been in real estate 45 years.
Wow.
I could have went back and got a job. I could be working at the hotel. I could have been a porter, because I could fix the hotel plumbing and electric. I could do all kind of handiwork. So I could have gotten a job. But because I enjoyed from 13-year old cutting grass with a lawnmower gave me my entrepreneurship.
Mm-hmm.
And because I enjoyed the freedom of getting up when I was done sleeping, the freedom of being able to work until I'm done, not till you told me I had to take a break or the shift was over. My entrepreneurship started then. And here
Mm.
I am. I'm 60. So you got to figure 60 at 13, you know, almost 50 years as an entrepreneur, you
Yes.
know. And so just giving, um, this book is teaching people how to, even though quitting is an option, we don't have to go that route.
Mm.
Maybe you have to cut some expenses,
Mm-hmm.
maybe you have to know, and there's another part in the book, but it's called financial literacy, learning how to be responsible. I remember one weekend, and this story's in the book, and I don't want to give too much of the book, but there's a portion in here when it talked about. Um, I remember buying a new suit. Financial literacy, lesson 17. Financial literacy, the key to freedom. The
Mm.
key to freedom. I remember buying a suit one weekend, and I love going to church. That's I grew up in churches, so it's still my life today. I love the Lord. And I remember buying a new suit and buying clothes for the girls when I got paid on that Friday from a job I'd done. And we had a great weekend. And Monday morning came, and I got a knock on the door. So it was the gas man at the door. He was there to collect or disconnect.
Mm.
Because I had so much fun over the weekend, I didn't have the gas money to pay the bill. And because I wasn't, financially literate about how to man, I was a young man. I was only like 23, 24, because I was worried about how I looked and how I appeared to people more than I was about being responsible.
Mm.
That's what this book teaches us, is how to be responsible with what we have, how to be responsible, um, in our lives. And so there's so many lessons in this book that my ghostwriter said, Mr. DeVille, this isn't a book about chapters. She said, in your book, these are lessons, these are life lessons that
Mm.
I've personally gone through, that I'm helping the mindset of people with strategy. It's a motivational workbook. And that's why I want to get it behind the prison walls. I have a nonprofit, and we're going to be getting our sponsors together to support this book. It's not about just selling books, it's about telling the story.
Yeah.
It's about equipping the mindset of the people to go beyond just a 9 to 5.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of smart people who could have been in business that are in the ground.
Yes.
They died with vision.
Yes.
Nobody pushed it out of them. And so this book, and this is just part one. It's going to be a series, because every time
Okay.
I think about stuff, there's more that I didn't say. I said, "Oh, I didn't get to talk about that." There's so many stories to tell.
So with the book, you just recently had a signing party just last weekend, last Saturday on the 24th at the
Yes.
West Las Vegas Library. I was able to peep and see that we had Congressman Horsford Representative Mr. Ishmael Carroll that gave you a proclamation. Can you talk a little bit about it?
A congressional proclamation uh, honoring from the congressman about, again, the book. And to be able to tell the story. He didn't even read the book. But because he's heard me, I never would imagine radio would have gotten me as popular. But because of my passion for people, they see that. And if you listen to what Ishmael said, and I sent it on Instagram and Facebook everywhere, but he said, not everybody, he said 1% of 800,000 people will ever get this proclamation, congressional, for recognizing what you're doing. For me, I don't do it for money. I do it because I genuinely want to help people. That's my love. That's why what Charlie Wilson on the song said, I'm blessed.
Yes.
Because it's not about me. It's about helping God's people to that next dimension, not just a level. I want to take you to the next dimension.
Yeah.
Create wealth through equity.
Yeah.
Because when you pay somebody's mortgage, when you pay rent, they're getting the equity. And people say, I never thought about that. In 5 years, so I've owned this house 10 years. I bought it for $290. Do you know today it's nearly $610,000?
Wow.
I
Wow.
bought it for 300,000, but once I put the down, I owed 292 is what it was, 292, and today it's almost 600,000, $610,000
Perfect investment.
investment, and that's why I'm helping people to see the investment. That's why I'm investing in a book to teach people how to be smart. It's not just about renting a nice house. Lady told me, "Oh, Mr. DeVille, I love the house I rent, and I could never afford to buy it." I said, but what if he ever decides to sell? Oh, he won't sell. Guess what? A year and a half later, I found out the man sold the house she loved so much.
Mm.
She had been paying the mortgage down. He owed less in that 7 or 8 years she'd been there. And so he had plenty of equity. He sold the house. But she has since purchased the house. She didn't purchase it with me. It's okay. What I realized, though, is teaching people. I may not get all the fruits of everybody buying a house, but I'm the reason you heard about it. I'm the reason you were encouraged about it because you
Yes.
heard that man Greg DeVille on the radio saying you too can do it.
Yeah, definitely that. That definitely is your tagline. You too can do that.
That's
I
it.
I remember hearing that. That definitely stands out. Where did you get that tagline?
So it just kind of fell on me years ago um, to encourage people. You too can do it,
Hmm.
right? That's been a phrase that I've had. I've been on radio 10 years. I probably started. It's probably been 9.5 years. I've been saying it that you too can do it.
Yeah.
So it's just a phrase to encourage people. You too can do it.
I like it. It's simple. It gets to the point right away, and you can remember it. Just once you hear it, you're like, yeah, you too can do it, and it's encouraging. It doesn't have to just be with real estate. It can be on any level. So, shout
Exactly.
out to you for creating that.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, let's talk about a song that is unpredictable, is untraditional, and is just something different that nobody would ever think like you like that song. It may
Mm.
be out of the typical realm of R&B that most people or rap. It may be a country western song or a French song. Can you identify a song?
So Kirk Franklin sings a song that also I'm encouraged with, and it's called "All Things." God can do all things. Um, I like that song too. That's encouraging. It really inspires. So when you get in those tight places, again, uh, I'm very transparent in life. I believe we help our brothers by being able to be transparent. Um, the song simply talks about didn't matter what obstacle I face, God can do all things, such as bringing me out. And sometimes coming out right away doesn't give me the lesson. There was a saying an old man said to me once, and he said, young man, you go to school to learn the lesson and take a test. He said, in life, you take the test and you learn the lesson.
Ooh, okay. I think you need to say that one more time because I
Well,
have an invisible pew back here. You can't see them. I
yeah,
can't see them, but you're speaking to them. Okay, so
yeah,
say that
yeah.
again.
So we go to school to learn the lesson. To the end, what? Take the test, the final exam. Well, in life, we get the test, and then ultimately we learn the lesson. And that's what life does to us, right? God will allow you to go through something, and if you're smart, you say, God, what are you trying to show me down through here? What is the lesson that I need to take away from this place? And a lot of lessons are sometimes we don't get it right away. Sometimes we go through our own ideas of how we think we should get out of this. You
Yeah.
know, a man once said, he said, if you want to make God laugh, give him your ideas and your plans.
That is
Tell him
true.
what you.
That is very true. That
Yes,
is
yes.
very true.
Hmm?
So, right now, currently in this current economy, right now, today, as of January 2026, what
Hmm.
do you foresee with housing and anything connected to housing? What do you see?
I'm still preaching the same sermon I've been talking about. We still have funding available. Right now, the market is shifting to a buyer's market. So, what that means for a buyer right now is that you have options. With these options, even though the grant money's still there, this administration has not taken, like on Woody, hasn't taken our funding for to assist families. You heard about when Miss Kamala Harris was running, right? She would talk about, I want to give grants for $25,000 to help first time buyers. Well, that's not anything new. We already have that. We've been doing that. But it's good to hear that she would continue that. But we have that. And so in this, where we're at right now, what we're looking forward to is still taking the opportunity to get into your own home, get into it with no money down, or use your VA or use your 401k. Because the way the industry is, you can actually get in a house with no money such as down. And the sellers are so hungry right now, is they're paying the closing costs. So
What?
the down payment covered the closing. I just sold a house to a lady. She paid $1,000 and got a beautiful home that she used to rent this house. She got it for $4,000.
What?
So
And
this is
this is current.
this is current right now. We're in a buyer's market. I got a house right now that if I get an offer, we'll pay. It's $500,000 house. Closing costs of 3%. It'll cost you $15,000 for your closing costs. My seller will give you $13,000 if you make him an offer at this price
Wow.
because we're hungry. This house has been on the market for 3 months.
Mm.
They're like, somebody buy my house.
Yeah, yeah.
So
It
they're
wasn't
begging.
like it was during COVID time where
Yeah,
it was like bid after bid after bid,
yeah,
and whoever had the most money could.
right. There you go. And see, that was considered a seller's market. See, sellers had options. I remember selling a house in Henderson. The man bid 15,000 over the price to beat the other guy because there wasn't enough inventory. So the competition was great and they were overbidding for these houses. Now the market has shifted. We're in a buyer's market. So whereas buyers have options, when they see a house they like, they can go and ask for the closing costs. And the sellers, just to get it done, they're like, you know what, fine, we'll pay it
Wow,
because they just
wow,
want to sell the house. They're paying. So if they went and purchased another house, they're paying two mortgages. That's it. So
wow.
got to get
Well,
rid of it.
and I think this is a good perspective for those that's happening in now or even in the future to understand that if this is something you really want to do, it is
Hmm.
always some options. You just need to
Yeah.
seek and find out and not assume that it's not available because it is.
Right. It is available. Very much so. It is available. Yep. Absolutely.
Well, I before I wrap this up, I want you to give all your information so everyone can contact you or to purchase your book, all that great information. But before we do, please hold your book up so they can see the cover
Yeah.
one more time.
There we are.
Yes.
Yes.
And tell them where they can purchase it. Also, I need all your contact, whether it's for real estate, whether it's for anything that you are currently doing. Would you
Yeah.
please share?
So I'm on all social platforms, streaming everywhere. Greg DeVille. So on IG, Greg DeVille LV, Facebook, Greg DeVille. Um, wow, my email is DeVillerealtylv at gmail.com. Um, DeVillerealty.com if you want to go to my website. I wanted to keep everything simple, so just Greg DeVille. On YouTube, I have a YouTube channel because I too do podcasts. My YouTube channel is at Greg DeVille on YouTube. My personal contact cell phone, and yes, I still give out my personal contact cell phone. That can be reached at 702-349-0162. Contact me directly. You can text me. I still love communicating directly with everybody. People say you're a mogul, but to me, I'm just Greg DeVille. I can put on a suit and I can put on some boots and do construction. So it doesn't really matter to me. I just enjoy living life. I have friends who didn't make it to be 60 years old, you
Mm.
know, and some that are living don't look as young as I do. Got some of my friends, man, they look beat up, the street life.
Yeah.
You know, I stopped drinking 25 years ago, so that's why I look younger as I age. I'm taking care of myself. When I was on drugs and alcohol, my life was in shambles.
Mm.
Um, but that's why today helping people. But yeah, reach out to me on all those platforms. My book can be purchased. I am direct distributing. The book is at gregdeville.store. gregdeville.store. And so we like to deliver on everyone's purchase. I'll hand deliver you locally in Las Vegas. If not, we'll have to mail it. But I'll hand write to each. I'll sign every copy. But I'm direct distributing. So that's at gregdeville.store.
Mm.
Those that would love to purchase the book. And I think the book, again, is a blessing to many. It's an encouragement it's a workbook, motivational workbook to help people that endeavor to be into entrepreneurship. If you've been thinking about it, let me tell you some stories that you can expect when you go into it. So that's what the book is about. But it's very, very encouraging and motivational.
And one last thing, if anyone is seeking or have any questions surrounding real estate, maybe they are not prepared just yet. Can
Mm-hmm.
you encourage them to say, just contact me? Let's have a 5 minute conversation that can turn into maybe a 10-minute conversation that can turn into them getting their opportunities or getting their ducks in a row. Can you just encourage someone that may be interested in and is keeping it in the back of their mind?
So if they were to call me, I would encourage you by saying, first of all, it's never no. It just may be not right now. And we're going to give you a strategy, a game plan. I like to call it a prescription. Take this prescription. We're going to give you what to do. When I was first purchasing in 2015, I wasn't ready. She said, DeVille, it's not no, it's just not right now. But here's what I want you to do. For 90 days, I want you to get credit cards because I didn't have any credit. I paid cash for everything, which wasn't good. But I need you to get a credit card, use it, and pay it for the next 90 days. I need you to settle with get on a payment plan with your IRS taxes. For somebody, it might get on a payment plan with your student loans. They'll give you the game plan. Don't say, well, I don't. Don't shoot yourself in the foot saying you don't. Contact me directly. I'll set you with one of the lenders. Do the application. Find out where you fit in, and again, it's never no. It just may be not right now. But once you follow the plan, now once she told me 90 days, on the 94th day, I was approved, and I got my home. It was 300,000. It was listed for 300, and I bought a 6 bedroom, 4 bathroom, 3,000 square foot house back in 2016. But that's what you could buy back then. But now today, it's worth 600,000,
Wow.
right? So the deal is, when you pay rent, that house you've been renting 5 years down the road, it's worth more, and you've been paying the mortgage, but you've been paying it through the rent. And so that's why I want to encourage people, reach out to me. All the platforms, Greg DeVille, Greg DeVille, IG, Facebook, Greg DeVille, YouTube. All my contact is there again for someone that wants to speak directly or text me. 702-349-0162. We'll give you a game plan. Some people say, well, I just signed the lease. Well, let's start working on what you need to do. So when the lease is up, guess what? You're approved. You're ready to go. We can go find you a house. You can give your 30-day notice. And guess what? We'll put you in a house with no money down. It's not predicated that you don't have money. You can qualify for the program. It's not based on you not having money. You can get a gift from a family member. You can use your 401k with a mere 580 credit score. So there's a lot of opportunity. And then people say, well, I got medical bills. That's not credit. So that medical bills deter you from thinking you can get a house. Medical bills are not considered to be a debt in the sense of getting credit. Okay, it's on your your history, but when that's not what the lenders are looking for, right? They're looking for your ability to pay. So be encouraged, reach out to me, and I thank you again for this opportunity to share from your platform. Because I clearly enjoy helping families get into their own. And again,
Yes.
that's where I'm at.
I love that. Before we get out of here, I always talk about the journey and the
Yeah,
destination.
yeah,
The journey is where we learn, okay? The
yep,
destination is where we celebrate. Far
yep,
too
yep,
often, we're working, working, working. We're not
yep.
celebrating. And when you
Hmm.
don't
Hmm.
celebrate, you don't get a chance
Yep.
to really
Right.
enjoy
Hmm.
what you've put in.
Yep.
So, at the end of the day, we all got to get back after we get through celebrating back into that journey so we can learn and grow.
That's right. That's
And
right.
anytime I have my guests on, when I have women, I bow. When I have men, I salute. So I salute you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
And for my audience or my guests, I always give the last word. So any last words go to you before we get out of here.
Thank you again for the opportunity for your platform to give me some notoriety about what I've been doing for the last 40 years. I'm a handyman. I fix homes. I sell homes. I repair homes. Thank you for this opportunity. I'm now an author. And again, I just want to encourage the people of God that greater is on the horizon. And so if I can be a part of any kind of way of helping you do that, creating generational wealth, creating wealth through different means, I have a lot of contacts. So I appreciate you again. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much.
Oh, you are welcome. You guys, please, please put your hands together. And don't forget Mr. Greg DeVille.
So much.
You are welcome. And as I say to all my guests, I'll see you out here in these Las Vegas streets.
All right. Thank you, sis.